All right, let's talk about something that pretty much everyone in the working world has an opinion on: performance management. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That meeting, that form, that time of year. But what if the way we've been doing it is just all wrong?
Seriously, think about it. When you see annual review pop up on your calendar, what's your first reaction? Is it excitement, or is it that little knot in your stomach? If it's the second one, you are definitely not alone. It's a hugely stressful event for so many people, and for good reason.
And look, it's not just a feeling, it's actually backed by research. A lot of studies have found that these traditional reviews don't just fail to help, they can actually make things worse. So the problem isn't just that we don't like them, it's that the system itself might be fundamentally broken.
So let's start by digging into that. Why does this process, which is supposed to be helpful, so often feel like a complete waste of time or worse? Let's unpack the dreaded annual review.
I mean, on paper, it all makes sense, right? Appraisals are supposed to help us fix what's not working, plan for our careers, and figure out who gets a raise. These are all really important things. So if the intentions are so good, why does the reality feel so off?
Well, a huge piece of the puzzle comes down to one critical difference. We often throw around the terms performance appraisal and performance management like they're the same thing. They're not. And understanding this difference is the key to fixing the whole process.
So here's the deal. An appraisal is a single event. It's a snapshot in time that looks backward at what you've already done. But performance management? That's a whole different ballgame. It's a continuous, ongoing process that's always looking forward. It's all about making sure what you're doing day to day is actually helping the company reach its goals. It's supposed to be a conversation, not a report card.
Okay, so when it comes to that appraisal part, that single event, what tools are managers actually using? Well, there are a few different methods out there, and each one has its ups and downs. So let's open up the manager's toolkit and see what's inside.
First up is the one you've probably seen a million times, the graphic rating scale. You can basically think of it as a report card for your job, grading you on different things like quality of work or communication.
Yeah, this should look pretty familiar. A manager just goes down the list: quality, productivity, job knowledge, and checks a box from, say, unsatisfactory to outstanding. It seems simple and objective, but here's the massive problem. It's super subjective. My definition of outstanding could be totally different from yours.
Now here's a totally different approach, the alternation ranking method. This one gets rid of the vague scales and instead forces a manager to rank employees against each other. So for a skill like creativity, you'd pick the most creative person, then the least creative, then the second best, the second worst, and so on until everyone's on the list.
It might seem a little harsh, but the real power of this method is that it forces a decision. There's no hiding in the middle and rating everyone as average. It makes a manager actually decide who is excelling and who needs more support in a specific area.
Okay, now for a much more sophisticated tool. It's a bit of a mouthful. The Behaviorally Anchored Rating Scale, or BARS for short. This method tries to kill that subjectivity problem by tying every single rating to a specific real-world example of behavior. Just look at the detail here. For something like salesmanship skills, a top score of 9 isn't just excellent, it's defined as something like able to overcome a client's major objection and close the deal. A low score isn't just poor, it ends the call too early without asking for the sale. This creates crystal clear standards that both the manager and the employee can actually see and talk about. So we have these different tools, but here's the thing. Even the most amazing tool can be useless if it's not used correctly. There are all these common psychological traps that can completely derail a performance review and make it totally unfair.
One of the biggest traps is right here: unclear standards. What does good work actually look like? What's the difference between that and excellent? When the definitions are this fuzzy, the whole thing just becomes a guessing game, and that's incredibly frustrating.
Then you've got this classic cognitive bias, the halo effect. You've probably seen this happen. It's when an employee is amazing at one thing. Maybe they're a fantastic public speaker, and that one skill creates a halo that makes their manager rate them highly on everything else, even on things they're not so great at. And then there's the flip side of that, central tendency. This is the play it safe move. It's when a manager doesn't want to have tough conversations or pick favorites, so they just rate everybody as average, right down the middle. It might avoid conflict, but it totally fails to recognize your top performers or help the people who are actually struggling. And finally, and this is the most serious one, we have to talk about bias. This is when a manager's personal, often unconscious, prejudices about things like age, race, or gender infect the review process and unfairly impact an employee's rating.
When that happens, the whole system loses its integrity.
So, knowing all this, knowing the tools can be flawed and our brains have these built-in traps, how do we fix it? How do we reimagine the performance review so that it actually, works?
Well, one of the biggest game changers is to expand who gets to give feedback. Instead of just hearing from your direct boss, what if you also got input from your coworkers, the people who report to you, and even did a self-evaluation? This is called 360-degree feedback, and it gives a much more complete and fair picture of someone's performance.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, there's no magic wand. The simple rating scale is easy to use, but it's full of bias. BARS is way more accurate, but it takes a ton of time and effort to build. The real secret isn't finding one perfect tool. It's about picking the right tool for the job, and, maybe even more importantly, training managers to spot and avoid all those psychological traps we just talked about.
And really, that brings us to the most important question you can ask. What's the point of all this anyway? Is our goal just to slap a rating on someone's past performance? Or is it to actually improve their performance in the future? Because when you shift your focus from rating to improving, well, that changes everything. It's how you turn the dreaded annual review into a genuinely powerful tool for growth.